So I want to ask you something, especially if you're a leader. How do you delegate? Or when the aspect of delegation comes, how do you do? Do you just send a WhatsApp message and expect things to be done? How really do you delegate? You know, we have found out that people who are supposed to delegate are the ones who actually do not. Maybe it's because it never worked, because they gave someone a responsibility, they delegated, but it never came out well. My name is Mutathi Wachira. I am a leadership and teamwork trainer, and I also consult on business management. In this video, I like just to share with you how you can delegate with clarity without expecting disappointment. So, the first question I've asked you is, how do you delegate? That's an important thing to understand. Is it a WhatsApp message? Is it an email? Do you have to see the person to delegate? It's a very, very important aspect. And then if that's a problem for you, we need to ask ourselves, so how do we solve that problem? How do we solve the problem, right? Of delegation. I know maybe someone is asking, why do you think delegation is important? It is important because there is no way you will ever develop well. There's no way whatever you're doing will grow to significant levels if you're an only person. You need to multiply. Delegation without clarity is just a disappointment on a timer. So that's the paradox that we have, that the people who are supposed to delegate the most are the people who actually do not delegate. Therefore, I like to just give us some context, some insights to this specific issue of delegation and how can we handle it. So I want to show you about 4 or 5 ways of how we can do delegation in a proper way. So number 1, I want you to think about context. So what is the context of your delegation? What are you supposed to be delegating in this specific aspect? Number 2 is the standards. What's the standard? You know, I talked in a previous video about leaders saying that common sense is lacking amongst their team members because you have never taught them what is common. You've never given them the standard. So even in delegation, the standard is important. The next thing when you delegate is deadline. So you told someone, I need you to get this work done. I need you to make sure this task is done. But you never told them by when. Is it by tomorrow? Is it by next week? How? And then we have resources. So what are the resources that you have given to this specific person or persons that you have delegated something to? So are they supposed to, if they're going somewhere, if they're supposed to go somewhere on your behalf, are they traveling with flights? And if it's flight, have you given that resource? If they're driving, you know, do they have a driver and all kind of things? And then the other one, which I think is important, is authority. You know, even when you talk about jurisdictions and powers, people need to know how much of a leeway they have in authority, how much decisions can they make, what is the delegated authority in this specific sense. Can they make this decision up to this end, or do they have to call you and tell you, boss, angalia WhatsApp? So the authority needs to be very, very clear. And then let me add a 6th one. I know I said 5, but let me just add a 6th one. The 6th one now is important when you do the debrief. Remember, in this entire case, we are talking about leaders who are struggling to delegate or they don't know how to delegate. So how then do you improve that aspect as you continue? You have to know how to do debrief. And debrief is to know, did this go well? How did I go about it? And next time, where can we improve? So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the tool that I am giving you guys today. We can basically call it the CSDRA. So we can remove this D part. So C is for context, S is for standard, D is for deadline, R is for resources, and 5 is A, which is authority. So hope up to that particular point, this is making sense. Just think of the CSDRA. So context, standard, deadline, resources, authority, and debrief. So let's go a bit deeper into each of it. Let me give you guys more context. So let's say if you're talking about context in this specific case, can you explain the matter that you are delegating or whatever you're delegating in simple sentences, right? So this person, either a junior person, because most of the time you're delegating to a junior person, can you make it as simple as possible? So when you're giving them this context, how simple can it get? All right, let's talk about standard in this case. Can you describe how excellence looks like? You know that question people are asked, what does a win look like to you? So when you're telling these people, I want you to do this thing, I'm delegating this specific task to you. When you're setting the standard, if they're high, so ask yourself, how does excellence in this specific case looks like? And be very specific if possible. And then D, deadline. Guys, this is so obvious. Give a specific time, a specific date, even day if possible. So let's say I want you to do this by the 5th of May, end of business, or 5 p.m. That's very, very specific. And then for the resources, do they have everything that they need to be able to do this task that you've delegated to them? You know, you cannot just tell someone, I need you to go do this, but you've not given them the resources that they're supposed to have. And then now, this authority in this case gives them accountability. So don't give someone a task to go and do, and you have not given them enough authority to do what they're supposed to do. So at the end of the day, they will not be able to be accountable as much as they want, because the outcome at the end of the day is pegged on you who did not give them the enough resources instead of them who they were actually delegated to. Let it just not be a task. Let it be something that they'll even be proud of as their work. So, as I've said, this is the CSDRA. And once you have done that, always remember, you have delegated, this task has been done either well or not. Sit down and have a debrief with someone you are delegating this authority to. So, this is my call to action. This week, think of something you have delegated or you are just about to delegate, and see whether you can use the CSDRA method to delegate well. Leaders who want to scale and scale well must learn to delegate, because delegation at the end of the day multiplies the tasks that people have. And of course, when the tasks are many and they're done right, the results come in much plenty. So ladies and gentlemen, as I've said, delegation without clarity is just disappointment on a timer. My name is Motadhi Washira. I hope I've earned the privilege of your time. See you on the next one.